All right. What's happening, everybody? Happy Saturday. Hopefully it's an enjoyable one for you, however you're spending it. And welcome to week 10 start sit. Hopefully Thursday night football went your way, because it went a lot of different directions depending on who you have from that game. If you have Lamar Jackson, if you have Joe Burrow, if you have Jamar Chase, congratulations. Enjoy that nice little Thursday night boom that you get to start your week with. Hopefully you're not against any of those guys, especially Chase. If you are, we might be mailing it in early this week. So hopefully Thursday night football went your way, if it impacted you one way or another. Regardless, taking your questions today, helping sorting out your lineup ahead of week 10, figuring out your best course of action and your best case scenario ultimately. Give me as much context as you possibly can if you think it pertains to your question. The scoring. If you're asking me to start running backs and wide receivers combined, is it half PPR? Is it full PPR scoring? Do you start 3 wide receivers? Do you start 2 wide receivers? Are you a favorite? Are you an underdog? Give me as much context as you can as it pertains to your question, and that'll better help me help you. We'll go over the latest injury updates that we have, and that may help sort things out organically for a question or two, but I will make sure that I get to every question. Members will get first priority. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. Your questions will get responded to in priority order. Comments will be responded to in priority order, all of that good stuff. If you are feeling generous enough or so inclined, you don't have to, but if you send a super, that would also be a line jumper to get your question answered faster. Otherwise, I just ask for some patience as I work through it. Please do not spam the chat. I promise I will get to your question. Your question may appear slightly out of order from the order that I see questions. So if your question is around a question that I'm answering, don't worry. I probably didn't skip it. It's just slightly out of order for me, or different order for me as it is for you. I will get to every question. Promise. If you are enjoying the conversation, the stream, the dialogue, all that good stuff, I only ask that you like the stream. That helps me out for algorithm purposes. Let's get into the latest details that we have for this week as it pertains to injuries. Starting from any update that we received as of this morning. So I'm excluding any injury updates from yesterday. That is officially a little bit dated. Chris Olave, no surprises here. Landed on injured reserve. Will miss at least 4 games. The Saints' season is essentially over. Their chances of making the playoffs are incredibly slim. This doesn't help their offense. They're already losing Rashid. They've already lost Rashid Shaheed for the year. Now Olave is down. I believe Bub Means is set to miss time. So the Saints will rock with Mason Tipton and Cedric Wilson as their starting wide receivers for at least the next month. We're downgrading everybody in this offense. Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill. You obviously start Kamara. Taysom Hill is on the radar probably for the rest of the year as in his super hybrid role, because they are desperate to find production anywhere they can. So if you grab Taysom Hill, you might as well fire him up as a streaming option at tight end. And he's a sneaky option in Superflex formats because he has quarterback eligibility. So, bye week injuries, if you're in a pinch at this point for at least the next 4 weeks, you could do worse than Taysom Hill. Chris Olave will miss at least the next 4 games. Who even knows if he comes back at this point, rest of the season? Like a fifth concussion documented. Hopefully he's okay. Tank Dell expected to play week 10, so that's good. He was on the injury report, questionable with a back injury, but it sounds like Tank Dell will suit up for Sunday Night Football. Tyreek Hill not participating in practice for the second straight day. He did not participate in practice Friday due to a wrist injury. That same injury is holding him out of practice today. That is not a great development for Tyreek Hill, one that we have to monitor. He will be listed as questionable at best going into Monday night against the Rams, and he will probably need to log at least a limited practice on Sunday in order to feel good about firing him up Monday night. If you have Tyreek Hill, my first suggestion to you is to put him in the flex, because then in that scenario, you can, if there is another Dolphin or a Ram on the waiver wire, regardless of whether it's a running back or a wide receiver, you can pick that player up and play them if Tyreek is not able to go. Tyreek has been disappointing this year, but he's Tyreek freaking Hill. It's hard to pull him out of your lineup. If you have him, I would put him in your flex. Regardless of who's in there now, swap him out for Tyreek Hill. You wait on a player like Tyreek Hill, unless you have some other bona fide stud sitting on the bench. And we can take it, obviously, right up to kickoff, right up to Sunday, ultimately, depending on what your situation is, what your in particular situation is if you have Tyreek. But I would put him in the flex for now. Plan to play him. If you have to pivot, yes, your options will be limited, but it's Tyreek Hill. You kind of can't move off of him until you know you have to. So just keep an eye out on the waiver wire who's available for the Monday night game, either from Miami or LA, like a Demarcus Robinson. Dak Prescott, this is the big one. Planning to undergo season-ending surgery, pending the option of a final specialist. I believe that was confirmed. So that's 3 different specialists now by my count. There may have been more. Feel free to fact check me on that. That all recommended that Dak is going to take a significant amount of time to recover from this hamstring injury. It is not of the 4-week variety. It is expected to be a longer timeline back. It sounds like, it appears like Dak is opting for a season-ending surgery. Will be out for the rest of 2024. Obviously, the team and player both hope that he can make a full recovery for 2025. This downgrades the entire Cowboys offense. It downgrades CeeDee Lamb. It downgrades Jake Ferguson. It downgrades Rico Dowdle. Jalen Tolbert is not likely a dart throw that is worth considering right now in any shallow leagues, 10, 12-team leagues. He can safely be dropped to waivers. You're pretty much just banking on volume at this point from CeeDee and Ferguson and hope that Rico can come through with some volume. And that Cooper Rush is good enough to at least support Lamb and Ferguson to some respectable weekly finishes. For as long as I guess they're in the lineup. CeeDee himself has been on the injury report, although he's been removed from it this week. He will play. But if the Cowboys season spirals out, they're at 3-5, and they just lost their quarterback, presumably for the year. We'll see how long CeeDee stays in the lineup before he potentially gets shut down. And I guess same can be said for Ferguson. But we're a ways off from that. If you have CeeDee Lamb, you continue to fire him up. If you have Jake Ferguson, maybe now's the time to pivot. Maybe give it a week if you don't have an obvious option to replace him. But we may want to start looking at alternate options for Jake Ferguson. And then Rico Dowdle, the Cowboys RB1. He could come through with some floor plays moving forward, but obviously, it's going to be a little bit rougher sledding going from Dak to Cooper Rush. Maybe he catches a couple extra dump-offs. Backup quarterback tend to check it down a little bit more. We'll see. Gus Edwards was activated to the 53-man roster. I believe he's still questionable for this game. J.K. Dobbins will lead that backfield and will dominate snaps and touches for at least one more week, I would think. Gus maybe mixes in if he's able to go, and they'll ease him back into the lineup over the next few weeks. For now, Dobbins is still comfortably an RB1 that you are firing up. Nico Collins activated to the 53-man roster, so rejoice if you have Nico and you held out and you're still in a good spot. He's officially questionable for Week 10, but he has been activated to the 53-man roster. He may not play on Sunday Night Football. You may want to make alternate plans for just one more week. But if he goes and you don't have an obvious choice, he also goes on Sunday Night Football. So similar to Tyreek Hill, that adds an annoying wrinkle to what do I do with Nico? But if we get any news between now and Sunday morning that Nico Collins is expected to be active and we're expecting a full complement of snaps and opportunities, then we are firing Nico up with confidence in that scenario. So let's stay on standby. If you have Nico Collins, you could tentatively pencil him into your lineup. If you have a decent alternate option that you could pivot to on your bench, be prepared. Just obviously ears and eyes, keep him close to any updates or reports that come out as it pertains to Nico. If we get good news that he's expected to, no limitations, fire him up. If he's questionable going into the Sunday slate tomorrow and we don't really know what's going to happen, then play the guys that you are more comfortable playing if you have them. So we'll take it situation by situation with Nico. Jordan Whittington, not listed on the injury report. He will offer some depth for the Rams pass catching core. And I think that's all that I have. I believe Debo is still on the injury report. I have to double check that one. Oh, Christian McCaffrey, duh. I believe he's going to play. McCaffrey will play. That is confirmed. I'm not sure if Debo has been confirmed. I'll take a look at that one real quick. I think those are all the injury updates that I have for now. What's going on, Greg? What's going on, David? Crumply Heads, good to see you guys. MVM, special shout out to my members. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out. I'll make sure to get to your questions. I just want to see what Debo's status is before I keep it moving, because he has been, like, coming out of the 49ers bye week, he's been on the injury report as questionable. I feel like he tends to suit up when he's questionable. It's typically the more favorable outcome than the alternative. Whether the results are there is another story. Yeah, officially listed as questionable. Okay. So we'll see about Debo. We have to keep a close eye on that one. We shall see. All right. Taking your questions again one more time. I will get to members first. That is a priority of a perk of being a member of the channel. You will get priority responses to questions and comments. Supers will also get priority responses if you're feeling generous enough. You don't have to. And then I will get to everybody else. So I just ask for some patience as I move through the questions. Please do not spam the chat with multiple comments of the same question. And I just, again, ask for some patience. Let's get into it. The guy in your league put CD on the block. If you offer Marvin Harrison and Dowdle, that's fine. You have Bijan, you have Jones, you have Mixon, so you have three anchors at running back that you can continue to rock with rest of the year. You'd be adding CD instead of Marvin Harrison. You still have Liga and Dobbs, so you definitely could use a wide receiver. The difference between CD and Marvin Harrison at this point, Greg, obviously, is Marvin Harrison has his quarterback for the rest of the year. Whether that's a good thing or not is another story, because Kyler and Marvin Harrison's connection has been anything other than consistent this year. Sometimes it's been good. There have been down weeks as well, multiple. So, he has been spotty. Obviously, there's still time for that to grow and develop, and you would probably trust Kyler Murray in a vacuum more than you trust Cooper Rush. But CeeDee Lamb is the superior talent to Marvin Harrison, at least as of 2024. We'll see about the future. That's not the question, though. You definitely need a wide receiver. I don't know if CD is the one that you should necessarily go after, Greg, when you are the one who has to give up the 2-for-1. If Dak were healthy, then I would say yes, like smash accept. But Harrison still has his quarterback. CD is now working with a backup for the rest of the year and is probably a greater candidate, or how likely it is another story. I can't exactly answer that, but if you had to guess which one is more likely to play out the entire year, CD or Marvin Harrison, at this rate, it is currently Marvin Harrison, because the Cardinals are playing for something and the Cowboys season is quickly going down the drain. Plus, you would be giving up Dowdle. Like, I like this idea, but I would try to do it for for somebody else, for a different wide receiver who still has his starting quarterback. Do I want to acquire CD? Yeah. Yeah. But you don't have another wide receiver to lean on if CD gets shut down. And I don't know, that's not likely for at least a month, but the possibility exists with how the Cowboys season is currently going. David, you need some help to sort out what to do with your roster to maybe to get back on the winning track. It looks like you need to trade for a wide receiver if you can. Mike Evans is not helping you right now. Chris Olave might not help you for the rest of the season. Xavier Worthy has been up and down. Higgins has been out of the lineup more times than not this year. It feels like Jalen McMillan is a spot, is a dart throw at this point and missed last week. He's questionable this week. Yeah, you probably need to take one of these two. Between Brees, Bijan, and Kareem Hunt, I would probably try to take one of those two running backs and see if you can do a 1-for-1 swap for a stud, for a good wide, because those are all RB1s. You should be able to get, you should be able to ask for a strong wide receiver 1 for one of those 3 running backs. And then when Mike Evans comes back, now you're in a better spot with your wide receivers. You still have 2 viable running backs to turn to. The problem is, of course, your flex is without those 3 running backs, your flex is kind of weak. But you don't have any wide receivers right now. You might get Mike Evans back in week 12, but we don't know how definitive or how likely that is. We'll get more details, I guess, in a couple of weeks. So you're still 2 weeks away from having Mike Evans. You haven't had Higgins for 3 games. I mean, or even maybe just make a smaller move. Try to trade Kincaid. You're probably not going to be able to do it, but try to trade Kincaid for like a wide receiver 3, just to get just to get a warm body in there. Yeah, unfortunately there's some holes at wide receiver in this roster. And if you trade one of those 2 running backs, or one of those 3 running backs, you should be able to acquire a really strong wide receiver. But then your flex it takes a hit because you don't have the running back depth to lean on. Yeah. Unfortunately, David, this is like an uphill battle right now with some of the options that you have. I guess I would try to take, try to take McBride. McBride has more trade value than Kincaid right now. That's probably what you have to try to do without sacrificing your flex, David. I would try to trade Trey McBride. He has trade value. You're going to have to just deal with Dalton Kincaid and whatever he can give you at the tight end position. It hasn't been pretty, but you're not going to be able to get anything for him. You can get something. You can get a wide receiver for Trey McBride. There is somebody in your league who needs a tight end and has a wide receiver. I would do that. I know Trey McBride has been better than Dalton Kincaid. Obviously, you would prefer to keep him, but Dalton Kincaid has no trade value. You could at least pivot to him at tight end and get a good wide receiver for Trey McBride. That's what I would try to do. That's what I would try to do. What's going on, MVM? We're picking 2 between Nico, Jennings, London, Sutton, Liggett, Worthy. London, right? Is he playing? London, I believe, is tracking to play. The question, of course, is does Nico play? And you have Liggett, and you've Liggett Sunday morning. You have Worthy, Sutton, Jennings. We don't know. So MVM, you're playing London if he plays, and you're playing Nico if he plays. We have to wait on this one for a little bit. We have to wait and see if Nico plays, or what the vibes are, what the reports are closer to kickoff. If we get anything either later tonight or tomorrow morning. So I would say if we get good reports on Nico, if we get an optimistic outlook on his availability for Sunday night, then you're playing Nico. If it's up in the air, before your guys go, Liget has a really good matchup. The problem is he plays so early because he plays in the Munich game. And I'd rather not play Jennings on the injury report and other guys are healthy. We have to wait on Nico. Here's what we do. We wait on Nico. If we don't get any good updates on his availability by kickoff, then we need to play London and Sutton. But if there's an optimistic outlook on Nico playing tomorrow night and getting his full complement of snaps, then we go with him. So it depends on between now and kickoff of the Broncos game, because I would say Sutton is your alternate option to Nico this week. Before the Broncos kick off, if we get positive news for Nico, then Nico. If we don't, then Sutton. And then London for sure. What's going on, Nick? Appreciate the super. Thank you so much. Do you drop Ferguson and pick up Hill? Or yeah, I would pick up Taysom Hill. Jonnu is interesting with no Tyreek Hill, but Taysom Hill figures to get an expanded role as like a hybrid. He'll take quarterback snaps. He'll take running back snaps. He'll take tight end snaps. They may even put him at wide receiver at this point. They lost Olave and Rashid Shaheed, so Hill will be a Swiss Army knife. That's fine. If Ferguson is your only option, then that's fine. You can drop him for Taysom Hill. Yeah. Ferguson might be okay with Cooper Rush because backup quarterbacks are going to hyper-target their top options even more than the starter. So that figures more volume for CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be quality volume. CeeDee, you obviously have to keep rocking with, but if Taysom Hill is available, you can move on from Ferguson. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Appreciate the super, Nick. Thank you so much. I would pick up Taysom Hill at this point for Ferguson. That's fine. What's going on, Jay? Good to see you. Crumbly heads, appreciate it. I think we're square. I'll give your rosters another look in Discord. I think I answered them on Thursday. I'll give them another look. See if anything has changed as far as my opinion since Thursday. Would I start? Yeah. So would I start Nico coming back over Hopkins or Downs? Not this week. Not this week. The Chiefs get the Broncos. Isn't that a home game? I think that's a home game for the Chiefs. So I think it is anyway. Let me double check that. He will see Surtain. Hopkins will. It's a home game for the Chiefs. I'm not as worried about that. I'm really not. And Downs plays in the 1 o'clock window. So it's the same answer, Jay, for anybody who has Nico Collins. If we get good news before the 1 p.m. kickoffs that Nico is expected to get his regular, his typical allotment of snaps and touches and opportunities, and he's feeling good and no limitations, no restrictions, all that stuff, then Nico. And I would probably play him over Hopkins. I would probably play him over Hopkins, but not Downs because Michael Pittman is out. So Downs in a slightly better matchup, I prefer to Hopkins. So we need positive news on Nico. If we get it, then I would put him in over Hopkins. If not, then you can keep Hopkins and Downs in. And Greg, I don't know if you saw, I did answer. So just like scroll back if you haven't yet. And I did get the question. I did get the trade question. I don't know if I love that for you just because of CD's situation. Feel free to rewind to see my whole thoughts if you missed it. You have Detroit. Who's Detroit have this week? They have Houston. Washington has Pittsburgh. No, I would just play. I think I would just play Detroit. They're good. And they just are they going to have Zadarius Smith this week? Is that who they traded for? I don't know if he's going to play this week, But if he does, that's even better. No, I don't mind playing Detroit. I know that it's Houston and Nico's coming back, but they've been really good. I would just play them. I did miss that you have Otten as well, David. Okay, so sorry about that. Yes, trade either one of those guys. Trade Otten or McBride. That's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. Trade one of those two. That is a must. That is a must. If you want to turn things around, you need to upgrade at wide receiver. Trading either McBride or Otten, whoever is willing to give you a better wide receiver, whatever you can get. So you go around your league, see who needs a tight end, reach out to them, say you have Otten or McBride. Who do you want between those two, and which wide receiver can I get? Try to get the best one you can, and that's what you do. That's how you improve, because then you keep all of your running backs, you still have a stud tight end, and you improve at wide receiver. Whether you keep McBride or keep Otten, I would prefer to keep Otten, but he may net you a better wide receiver, and you still have somebody like McBride. Trade one of those two, get a wide receiver upgrade. You should be able to ask for a good one, and then you keep all three of those running backs. Yes, that's what Otten or McBride. Trade one. That's a priority. That has to be your priority. That has to be your priority. Yep. No, I would play Detroit. And Washington picked up Marshawn Lattimore, but Lattimore's not making his debut this week. He didn't I guess they decided they're not going to play him. So yes, Washington upgraded, but they're not activating Lattimore. He's not playing this week. So I would stick with Detroit. Let's see. I think those are all the member questions that I have so far, plus the super from Nick. Appreciate that. If any of my members need anything else, just let me know. I will make sure to grab it. Otherwise, I will go to the top of the chat. Oh my God. Okay. Take your pick, honestly. I mean, McCaffrey coming back, we didn't hold this long not to play him, right? So play McCaffrey. Hunt has the Broncos. That's a slightly tougher matchup. Tracy has the Panthers, which is an amazing matchup. And then you have James Cook as well against the Colts. Take your pick. I would play McCaffrey. I would play Tracy against Carolina. And then, honestly, you can flip a coin between Hunt and Cook. Both have been good. Hunt's been getting touchdowns. Cook's been getting solid work, been getting solid usage in the Bills' offense. Maybe I prefer Hunt by a hair since he's been getting the touchdowns, although it is a slightly tougher matchup by the numbers. It doesn't matter. You're starting three strong RB1s. I would play McCaffrey, Tracy. I guess I would lean Hunt, but if you want to play Cook, that's fine. Take your pick. They should both be good. They should both be good. They should both be in good spots. And you're starting Daniels over Mahomes. You're starting a lot of quarterbacks over Patrick Mahomes. He is not a viable option for one quarterback leagues week to week. Like, he had a good week last week against Tampa Bay. Everybody's having a good week against Tampa Bay. He's been pedestrian otherwise this year. No, Jaden Daniels over Mahomes for sure. For sure. Darnold or Mahomes? Darnold. Patrick Mahomes had a nice week last week against Tampa Bay, who, what are they giving up? They're giving up top 3 production through the air to opposing quarterbacks on the year. They're getting cooked by everybody. So even Mahomes was able to do it. He's not putting up the consistent numbers to feel good about firing him up in one quarterback leagues. Darnold gets Jacksonville this week, right? Like, yeah, fire him up. That's a funnel. The Denver Broncos are a tougher matchup, and Patrick Mahomes has not done anything in even plus matchups. He finally had a good fantasy week last week against Tampa Bay. They are bottom 3 in the NFL in passing yards allowed. Denver's top 8. They're 6th. They've been a little leakier in the past 3 games, but it's still a tougher matchup by the numbers. No, I would go Darnold. I would go Darnold. I don't want to play Mahomes in one quarterback. Super flex, you have to, but in one quarterback, I don't want to play him. Super flex team. You bought Lawrence. This is a dynasty question, or for a 27 first. I mean, at least the first is not it's not in the near future, so it's a fine gamble to take, but it it's kind of not hard to see why. I mean, Lawrence has been a little bit better recently, but like the criticism of him and why people are out on him is warranted. He's not lived up to the billing of like number one pick generational talent. He hasn't. Um, for fantasy purposes, he puts up numbers frequently enough to give you, some top 15 production, but he's difficult to trust as a QB1 week to week. And now he's hurt, right? He's not, is he, I don't think he's playing this week. He's still listed as questionable, but he's trending in the wrong direction, trending toward not playing. And they were saying recently that, they're weighing all of their options with Trevor Lawrence. Like, he's day to day, but they were considering surgery. Like, what kind of update is that? I mean, a 27 first is so far in the future that, and it's fine to take that short-term roll of the dice on Lawrence, who will remain a starting quarterback for several more years. He has been kind of disappointing. Not kind of disappointing. He's been disappointing. Got 11 passing touchdowns through 9 games and 6 interceptions. Like, that's pretty average. He runs a little bit. He runs here and there, but not at any type of consistent level. 27 first isn't much, so that's fine. I am with other people. I am, he's a decent QB 15. And that, I don't know, that might be his ceiling. Yeah, so again, with Tyreek Hill, we have to just wait and see. He hasn't practiced this week. He's questionable for Monday night. We'll see if he get. Do teams playing on Monday night? I think I guess they get a practice in on. No, today was the last day of practice, right? Because they're traveling tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. Put him in your flex. Put Tyreek Hill in your flex. We have to hold out hope and wait for him. If we get an update that he's not playing before kickoff, then we can fire up somebody else. If it's possible he still plays on Monday night, we have to hold out for Tyreek Hill. We just have to. So be prepared to grab a Demarcus Robinson if you need to swap him in, or a Jonnu Smith. Put Tyreek Hill in the flex. That way, whoever's available for between the Rams and the Dolphins, you can just pick up a player playing in that game to replace Tyreek. That you put him in the flex. That's how you play it. And then we just got to take it 1 hour at a time at this point. Wait for updates. So, like, again, same deal. Same deal. One plays on Sunday night, one plays on Monday night. If we know Nico's playing and, again, is going to get his full complement of snaps and opportunities, and it's like an optimistic viewpoint, then play Nico. If he's expected to be limited or gets ruled out, then put Tyreek Hill in there. And if Tyreek Hill doesn't play, then, again, have him in your flex and be ready to if you can leave the flex open. If you have like 3 running backs or whatever, then that's one thing. But then leave him in the wide receiver spot and plan to pick up Demarcus Robinson if he's available if Tyreek can't play. So it all comes down to, it all comes down to their status. Brian Thomas or Jawan Jennings. So Thomas is what? Catching the ball from Mac Jones, and he's been on the injury report. Or Jennings, who is, he's going to play, but he's going to be behind. Assuming Devo plays, Jennings is going to have fewer opportunities because he's going to be behind Debo, he's going to be behind Kittle, and now he's going to be behind McCaffrey. So I would plan to play Brian Thomas. I think he's playing, right? Even though he's catching the ball from Mac Jones, he's still really good. Plan to play Brian Thomas, and if Brian Thomas doesn't go, if he gets ruled out, then you can go to Jennings, or if there's somebody else on the wire that you can pick up. But plan to play Brian Thomas. Got my member questions. Appreciate the members. Trade Jaden Reed and Brian Robinson for Nico. Yeah, I mean, if your running back depth is strong, I see right below you have 4 tight ends. That's just, yeah, you got to drop 2 of them. I mean, you have 3 tight ends too many. I just don't like rostering that many tight ends. I would drop, I mean, that's 3 roster spots that are clogging your bench. I don't know how many running backs you have. What's your running back depth look like? What's your running back depth look like? That would be my question. That would be my answer to your question is, like, do you have strong running back depth? Because if you give away Brian Robinson and your running back depth is weak because you're carrying the tight ends, then I might not want to do it. Running back depth is obviously pretty it on a team per team basis, it can often be pretty volatile. All it takes is one instance, one injury to happen, and then boom, like what are you relying on? Try to trade those tight ends if you can, but I mean, drop any. You held Hawk for this long, so you might as well hang on to him. I mean, if you can't trade them, then drop Kraft and Pitts, I guess, or Kraft and Njoku, or all 3 because you only need 1 tight end. Yeah, I mean, hopefully you have some decent running backs. Sell Rico in Dynasty. I mean, again, it depends on your situation. Are you a contender? Then don't trade him away. Are you rebuilding? Are you not contending this year? Then yes, sell him. Sell him. It just depends on your situation. It depends on your situation. I would sell him if you're rebuilding, and I would hold if you're a contender. Thoughts on Gibbs and Montgomery? They're 2 RB1s. I don't care about the matchup. I don't care who they're playing. They're in your starting lineups. I know it's a tougher matchup by the numbers against Houston. I don't care. I'm starting them both with confidence. Yeah. They're awesome. They're both really good, and I would definitely play them both. Liggett or Pierce? Liggett is going to be. I mean, Pierce gets an expanded opportunity with Pittman being out, but Liggett is now what the Panthers wide receiver 1 in a great matchup. I would probably play Liggett. Leads the team in targets over the last 2 weeks. Giants aren't a good. They're not a good. They're a decent front 7, but they're not a good. It's not a good secondary. Yeah, it's a beatable secondary. I would go Liggett. I would go Liggett over Pierce. Just checking to make sure I don't have any. No other member questions at the moment, but I will have to jump out of line if I see any others, but I don't for now, so I'm just going to keep it moving. Appreciate everybody's patience as I work through these questions. Trade Jacobs and Ladd or Otten for Kamara and Montgomery. And your other tight end is Kelsey. So you don't need both of those tight ends. Yeah, I would trade Jacobs and Otten, or Jacobs and Kelsey. Could you do Kelsey instead? I actually think I like Otten a little bit more rest of season than Kelsey. It's splitting hairs. If you can't, I mean, if you prefer to trade Otten and keep Kelsey, then that's your that's your prerogative. You can do what you want. That's your team. But yes, I would trade Jacobs and one of those two tight ends to acquire Kamara and Montgomery. If you need the running back depth and you're acquiring two running backs for the price of one, and you have a disposable tight end, that's fine. Kelsey's past his bye week, so maybe he's worth keeping. Otten has a bye next week, so you can't rely on him next week. So Otten is fine to trade and rock with Kelsey rest of season. That's fine. Yeah, because you're picking up two running backs. And Kamara's going to see all the work he can handle for the rest of the year, even though they have 2 wins. Hopefully he doesn't get shut down. That would be the concern. Hopefully he doesn't get shut down. Yeah, I would do Otten or Kelsey. Kelsey, maybe I prefer a little bit because he's past his bye week. Otten's not past his bye week yet, but also Otten looks like he's going to be a monster for the rest of the year. Either way, you only need one. So yes, Jacobs and Otten for those two backs. I'm good with it. Do I drop Waddle instead of Ferguson, though? No, I wouldn't drop Waddle, especially with Tyreek Hill being on the injury report. Waddle, I don't trust, but I mean, he might be wide receiver 1 this week against a very beatable Rams secondary. No, I would not drop Waddle. I know he's been disappointing. I know he's been frustrating, but at least he just got his quarterback back. He has Tua back. Ferguson just lost Dak. No, I would not drop Waddle. I would keep Waddle. He's actually he might be viable this week if Tyreek doesn't play, but of course, that game being on Monday night makes it difficult to figure out what's going on with that situation. And you could pick up Taysom if you move on. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yes, I would do that deal. I got David's question. Again, I always get to the members first. David, let me know what you're successfully able to do, but definitely trade one of those two tight ends if you can. Start Downs or Devontae Smith. It says full PPR. Yeah, full PPR. Both are in very good spots. Downs with no Michael Pittman. Devontae Smith against the Cowboys. That's a beatable matchup. It is a division game for Devontae Smith, and it is possible. I mean, the Cowboys might make that game competitive because it's an NFC East battle, but they are severely shorthanded for this game, going into it without Dak. Is Micah Parsons playing? Okay, it looks like Micah Parsons he will return. So that's going to make things a little bit more difficult for the Eagles offense. I think I lean Downs just because he's going to be the wide receiver 1 definitively this week with no Michael Pittman. Devontae Smith is excellent. He's awesome, but he has a chance he might take a back seat to a healthy AJ Brown, assuming AJ Brown makes it through the game. He didn't last week, so maybe it's not safe to say assuming, but he's off the injury report and will play. If the Eagles are able to handle their business in Dallas, they might not throw the ball a ton. I'll take Downs. He should be the team's wide receiver. He will be the team's wide receiver 1. We don't know if Devontae Smith will be the team's wide receiver 1 any given week when AJ Brown is healthy. So I'll take Downs. And yes, Washington got Lattimore, but Lattimore is not playing this week. And he's also older at this point with injury issues. So it was a good acquisition for Washington, but he can't play this week and he has to get healthy. Noah Brown or Mac Hollins. Boy, we are scraping. We are at the bottom here, but I appreciate it. I appreciate deep leagues or leagues where it's like you have to figure out like a deeper flex. Man, Hollins is a little bit more enticing with Keon Coleman out, and if Amari Cooper doesn't play, then he is really interesting. That's probably what I would do. If Amari Cooper is out tomorrow, Keon Coleman is already out. So yeah, I would take a shot on Mac Hollins. If Amari Cooper plays, then I'll take Noah Brown. So it depends on the status of Amari Cooper. That's what it depends on. Stafford or Tua? Stafford, because we don't know if Tua's going to have Tyreek Hill. We know that Stafford is going to have Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, assuming Puka doesn't throw any punches this week. Stafford has Kupp and Puka. Tua might have Tyreek Hill, hopefully has Tyreek Hill, but we're not going to know. Oh, actually, they play each other Monday night. So I guess I would play Stafford tentatively, but if Tyreek plays, I'll go Tua. But if Tyreek sits, then I would play Stafford. And they both play each other on Monday night, so you'll know the scenario that you going in. You'll know the scenario going in. You traded Olave for Waddle. Wow, holy hell, nicely done. You got out of that situation just at the last second. I don't know what whatever that person was thinking. They might not have been paying attention. So congrats on getting some pretty damn good value for Olave. No, I mean, so we just have to wait on Tyreek Hill. We're probably not going to know. It's possible we don't know until Monday. We might get an update either tonight or tomorrow, but it's going to – these types of things on Monday night can happen at any time, so it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say. We just have to be patient. And depending on your specific situation, just, play it by ear. If you have a guy that you believe in, then play that guy. If you don't have an obvious name other than Jalen Waddle to play, then plan to play Waddle. As far as Jonathan Brooks, I don't want to drop him yet because we haven't seen him, but these past couple weeks have been pretty disappointing for Jonathan Brooks. It's taken him a little longer than I think we were hoping for him to make his debut. He's finally making his debut here in week 10. But Chuba just signed a contract extension with the team that pretty much locks him into a solid role for a while. 4 years, $33 million. So no, I'm not dropping Jonathan Brooks, but all of my optimism for him is kind of dried up. I want to wait and see what I have, but it has definitely been a disappointing couple of weeks for anybody who was stashing and waiting for Jonathan Brooks. But I wouldn't drop him yet. Yeah, I would pick. You have Caleb. I mean, Cousins or Stafford. I would pick up one of them. I guess I would pick up Stafford. He's got Kupp and Puka. I guess I would pick up Stafford. He has two frontline high-end options at wide receiver in Kupp and Puka. Yeah, I would pick up Stafford. And Caleb has been very up and down, very inconsistent. Yeah, I'm getting to questions. Appreciate everybody's patience. Do you trade Kincaid for McLaurin? Yes, 100%. That's on the table for you? Yes, go do that now. As soon as you can. Trade Kincaid for Terry McLaurin? Yes, 100%. I don't care who your options at tight end is. We'll stream them until we figure it out. Yes. Yes, Kincaid's been disappointing, and McLaurin has been rock solid. Yes. Do that deal. Do that trade, 100%. Two flexes between McConkey, Jennings, and DJ Moore. McConkey and DJ Moore. I don't want to play Jawan Jennings if you have viable, competent options. And I know DJ Moore has been, again, I just got done talking about how Caleb Williams has been disappointing. Therefore, DJ Moore has also been disappointing, but he is a big play waiting to happen any given Sunday. You have to play DJ Moore. Who do they have this week? New England. There's nothing scary about that matchup. Christian Gonzalez has shown flashes of being a really good corner, but he's also shown instances where he can be beaten. DJ Moore and Ladd McConkey. He's coming on strong in this second half as the second half of the season gets underway. McConkey and DJ Moore. And then I would play Taysom Hill. 100%. Taysom Hill is on the tight end one of radar for at least the next month and probably the rest of the season. Shaheed out for the year. Olave on injured reserve. Who else do they? Kendre Miller on injured reserve. They're gonna line Taysom Hill up at running back, at tight end, at quarterback. They're gonna give him his super hybrid role. I mean, yes, Taysom Hill can be streamed rest of season in your tight end spot in one quarterback leagues, and he has sneaky appeal in superflex leagues if you need to put him in the superflex spot. Yes, Taysom Hill for sure. And Demarcus Robinson, then Jordan Whittington. If you have Tyreek Hill or if you have Nico Collins, somebody playing in the late window, then Jordan Whittington, I guess we don't want to start Odell Beckham, but I guess he's an option. If you're able to move Tyreek to your flex, then Jonnu Smith is a flex option, like waiting for, as a potential Tyreek replacement. Whittington or Tutu Atwell if Demarcus Robinson can't play. There are, obviously these are dart throws, but if you have Tyreek Hill, we're waiting on him until we are given a reason not to. And so far, we don't have that update yet. So we gotta be ready. Plan to play Tyreek, but be ready to pivot. Trade Garrett Wilson for no, I mean, I assume if this is the same. If you can trade Kincaid, then do it. Garrett Wilson for McLaurin? No, that I am not doing. Garrett Wilson has come alive this year after an incredibly slow start. He has come alive and reminded us that he is, when things are working, an upper echelon wide receiver in the NFL, a very, very good wide receiver in the NFL. He's approaching elite territory. I think he might already be there. The touchdowns haven't been there yet for the most of his career, but he's had some bad quarterback play up until this point. No, you keep Garrett Wilson. If you can make it happen for Kincaid, then great. But if it has to be Garrett Wilson, then no, keep Garrett Wilson. Keep Garrett Wilson. Tracy, Najee, Montgomery, Rashad White. I would play Tyrone Tracy. I love David Montgomery, but I would play Tyrone Tracy. He gets the Carolina Panthers. They are getting cooked by every running back on the face of the earth. I would play Tyrone Tracy. Yeah. The Panthers are the worst team in the NFL against the run on the season, and I think over the past 3 weeks, they've improved a little bit, but they're still bottom 3. Carolina can't stop anybody on the ground. Tyrone Tracy, he's an RB1 this week. Tyrone Tracy is an RB1 this week. Oh, 2 different teams? All right. I got you. Hopefully you're still in here. I'll go back. Let me go back. Okay, so these are 2 different teams. So my first, if you're still in here, thanks for your patience. I would want to know the rest of your team. I would want to know the rest of this team, because if you've got good running back depth, then I'm okay with it. But if you don't, then I'm not. And then with this one, can you make trades? You have too many tight ends. I want to pick up running back depth or wide receiver depth, whatever you can. You keep Hawkinson. I guess I would drop Kraft. It's his bye week, so you might be able to get him back if you want him after waivers clear this week. I would drop Kraft. He's on his bye. Sorry, I thought these were 2. I thought it was the same team. I misunderstood. I thought they were 2. I thought they were the same team. They're 2 different teams. So for your trade question, in a vacuum, I would do it, but I want to know that you have good running backs in the event that something happens to one of them after trading Brian Robinson away. And I would drop Tucker Kraft in this particular situation. You have Hawkinson. You were stashing him. You might as well rock with him for at least a few more weeks, starting this week if you didn't start him last week. And I would move on from Kraft because it's his bye week. Lots of tight ends. Try to trade Pitts and Njoku if you can. If you can. Sorry. Thought that they were the same team. It's 2 running backs. So Tracy and Pittsburgh has Washington, who has been better recently. Montgomery gets Houston. Montgomery's been so rock solid this year. How confident am I in him versus Najee? I'm not worried about Montgomery just because it's a tough matchup by the numbers. Both teams should score points. Najee his past 3 weeks, Cleared 100 yards in 3 straight games, scored a touchdown in 2 of them. The game he didn't catch it or get a touchdown, he caught 3 balls for 17 yards, so some decent supplement work. Montgomery has been good 3 of the past 4 weeks. He has 3 touchdowns in that stretch. 2 games where he's cleared 73 and 80 yards rushing. Cleared 20 yards receiving 2 of those 4 games. Najee has Washington coming off of his bye week. I guess I give the slight nod to Najee, but I like both of them. I like both Najee and Montgomery. Rashad's the odd man out for me here. He's been decent recently, but Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker loom. And who do they have this week? I feel like it's a slightly tougher matchup. San Francisco? Yeah, that's a slightly tougher matchup. No, I'll play Najee and Tracy. Montgomery is close, but I'll take Najee coming off his bye week. Yep, I'll take Najee coming off the bye week. McMillan, Westbrook-Akine, or Pierce. Well, McMillan's on the is on the injury report, so we don't know if he's going to play. Westbrook-Akine, I don't think I trust because Will Levis is going to play. Will Levis is back for starting for the Titans. I don't like that. I don't like that for the Titans pass catchers. I definitely don't like that for Calvin Ridley. I'll say Pierce. Because, yeah, we don't know if McMillan's going to play. And I just don't trust the Titans pass catchers with Will Levis in there. I don't. Yeah, I'll take Pierce. Am I moving through? I mean, I'm coming up on the end of the chat at the moment, so I will obviously stick around for a bit longer. But if there are no other questions, then hopefully you guys are all good. Let me know if anybody needs anything else. 12 team in PPR. Do you keep McLaughlin or drop him for Estime or Wright? I have McLaughlin personally, but I also have Javonte in that league, so that's why I'm hanging on to him. He's got a brutal matchup this week against Kansas City. I don't know that he's necessarily a drop for Estime or Jalen Wright. I think I would hang on to McLaughlin for one more week. Like, Jalen Wright has lost a little bit of luster. Achane is killing it, and Raheem Mostert is back healthy, so he's taking the ancillary satellite options. Estime is intriguing, but I just don't know if I don't know if he's a grab yet. I know that the Broncos mentioned that they want to get Estime more work. But, like, that could be coach speak. It could be true. It could be real. We don't know. I think I would hold McLaughlin for one more week and see how backfield snaps shake out against Kansas City this week for Denver. I would wait for one more week. Full PPR, Noah Brown or Matt Collins. So I got, I think I got this question. Yeah, I did. So, yeah, if Cooper plays, I would play Noah Brown. If Cooper is out, I would play Matt Collins. It depends on Amari Cooper's health tomorrow. Yep, got it. No problem. What's going on? He hate me. Good to see you. I will get to everybody else's question. I see them, but I got to get to my members first. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. I will make sure that I get to the member questions first. But I have my spot in line. I promise I haven't missed any questions. I will get to them. Appreciate y'all's patience. Bonix, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford in Superflex. The Broncos have the Chiefs and on the road. Rodgers has the Cardinals on the road. Is that a road game for the Jets? I think it is. Double checking right now. And Stafford, it is. It's a road game for Aaron Rodgers, who has been solid the past couple of weeks. And then Stafford on Monday night against the Dolphins. That's actually, I think, a bad matchup by the numbers, if I remember correctly. Miami's been pretty stingy against the pass. They've been a little bit more gettable in the past 3 weeks, but they're still middle of the pack. And I think one of those games was against Josh Allen, so that'll do it. On the season, though, Miami's got a pretty good secondary. Kansas City's is middle of the pack, but it's a road division game for Bo Nix. That could be a tough spot for him. That could be a tough spot. I'll take Rodgers and Stafford. He hate me. I'll take Rodgers and Stafford. Rodgers, it seems like he's kind of rounding into form recently. He's been putting up some pretty good numbers. Now has a Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams, and maybe they're trying to carry some momentum after their win last week into the desert. And I believe that's a decently beatable matchup. Arizona's a favorable matchup by the numbers. They're giving up decent production through the air on the year. Miami isn't, but Stafford is playing well the past couple of weeks. It's a home game for him, and he has Kupp and Puka healthy, assuming Puka doesn't throw any more punches to get ejected. I'll take the vets. I'll take your wily vets in Stafford and Rodgers. Bo Nix has been solid. He has been. He's been playing well, but it's a second straight road game. This one's a division opponent. The Kansas City Chiefs have a good defense. Yeah, he ran for 36 yards. The one thing that Bo will do that the other two won't is that he will run. He will run. What do you have? 3? And then I believe he caught. He caught a touchdown, right? He caught a touchdown on a trick play from Cortland Sutton. So we can't necessarily bank on that replicating itself. Yeah, I'll take Rodgers and Stafford. I'll take Rodgers and Stafford. I like Bo Nix, but his numbers last week are a little bit inflated by that trick play receiving touchdown. If he doesn't catch that, we're looking at like a 10-point week for him, and that's not going to get it done. I'll take Rodgers in the desert with Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams, and I'll take Stafford. Even though by the numbers it's not a great matchup against the Dolphins, he's at home, he's a savvy vet, and he's got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua to throw the ball to. Yep, that's where I'll go. Appreciate the like and the sub. Thank you. Thanks for the support. Let's get a dub on Sunday, tomorrow. Darnell Mooney or Tony Pollard in the flex. Mooney's been so freaking good this year. Pollard has a tough matchup by the numbers against the Chargers. And what is his status? He handled a bell cow roll last week, he got 150 plus scrimmage yards. And he's not on the injury report now. If it's half PPR, I'll say Pollard. If it's full PPR, I'll say Mooney. So it depends on your league scoring. Both are in great spots. Both have been solid. If it's half PPR, give me the running back. If it's full PPR, I'll take the wide receiver. Let's see. Brian Robinson is out. Smith and Jigba bye week. Myers bye week. Ridley, Hawkinson, or Liggett. Yeah, I don't want to. Ridley makes me worried because of freaking Will Levis. Ridley is good. Will Levis is not. I don't want to play Hawkinson. I just don't like playing a tight end in my flex if I don't have to. I think Liggett is my answer here. He leads the Panthers in targets the past 2 weeks. Of course, Ridley does for the Titans as well, but they're going through a quarterback change. They traded Deontay Johnson. They traded Jonathan Mingo. The Panthers did. It's full steam ahead on guys like Xavier Liggett and Jalen Coker for them. Adam Thielen's not going to play. The Giants are a very beatable matchup. I'll take Liggett in Munich. I'll take Liggett in the I almost said the London game, the Germany game. It would be Ridley. My answer would be Ridley, but Will Levis does not throw a catchable ball. I don't trust him. I trust Ridley, but I don't trust Will Levis. I don't trust Will Levis, man. I just don't. Yeah, I'll take Liggett. Herbert, Murray, or Daniel Jones. I can't believe I'm about to suggest Daniel Jones, but I think I might. I mean, Herbert's been playing well. It's a tough matchup by the numbers. Kyler has been pedestrian, but he offers the most Konami code upside because of his ability to run. Daniel Jones can run as well, but he also is not good at football. But he's in a beautiful matchup against Carolina. Daniel Jones has 4 games this year with 2 passing touchdowns, and every other game he has not thrown a touchdown. It is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for Daniel Jones. You are either getting a QB1 week or you are getting a QB or you're getting like a tight end week. Like a low-end tight end 1 performance, which is like 6 points. Now, he has a beautiful matchup, so that makes him intriguing. The problem is Daniel Jones is the guy I trust the least of this group. I feel like my answer is Herbert. Herbert's been good the past couple of weeks. Last 3 weeks, 282 passing yards, 279 passing yards, 349 passing yards, week 7. He's at home against Tennessee. They've been throwing the ball a little bit more. I think my answer is Herbert. Yep. I see you got a member question down below. What's going on, Curtis? I see everybody else's questions. Promise I'll get to them, but I got to get to my members first. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. Adunze, Worthy, Jennings, Bigsby. Jennings, I think. Adunze, I want to bank on the potential upside that he brings to the table any given week as an ascending rookie. I think the same can be said for me for Worthy. I'll drop Jennings because McCaffrey is back. Bigsby, I don't want to drop because he's running back depth. It's Jennings. I want to bank on the wide receiver upside, the rookie, the young player, wide receiver upside of Adunze and Worthy. Jennings' upside is not there without an injury to one of either, now that McCaffrey is back, one of either McCaffrey, Debo, or Kittle. He's hard to trust. So I would drop Jennings to activate McCaffrey, and you are firing McCaffrey up into your starting lineup. Congrats if you have him. Like if you're like Curtis and you have McCaffrey, congrats if you have him. Yep. So I would drop Jennings. Let's see. Where am I at? Start Downs, Marvin Harrison, Brian Thomas, or Adunze. It should be Marvin Harrison. It should be. but he's so difficult to trust. And he gets the Jets this week. He gets Sauce Gardner. That's a tough matchup. I'll say downs. Brian Thomas is on the – I love Brian Thomas, but he's on the injury report, and Mac Jones is going to be his quarterback. And Adunze, I like Adunze, but inconsistent offense. I'll take downs. Pittman is out. Downs should command 12 to 15 targets. Maybe 12 is realistic. 15 might be a little much. He's going to command 10 to 12 targets. I'll take downs of this group. Harrison sees Sauce Gardner. Brian Thomas catches the ball from Mac Jones. Adunze, inconsistent usage and inconsistent offense. Give me downs. And yep, same page on Ridley. I don't trust him with Will Levis. I trust Ridley. I don't trust Will Levis. And yes, London is expected to play. If you have London, you get him into your lineup. And you're 6-3. Congrats on being 6-3. That's a perfectly fine spot to be in. You're sitting pretty. Nicely done. Full PP. You have to bench one. This is a stacked team. Nico, London, Gibbs, Brees. Probably Nico, because like when you're stacked, when you've got loaded options, play the healthy ones. Nico, we hope to be like clear of any questions about his availability next week. This is his first week back, so obviously there's question marks about his availability and his potential usage tomorrow night. When you are loaded, play your healthy guys. And London's on the injury report too, but Nico plays Sunday night. We may not know his availability until later in the day. London, I believe, plays in the 1 o'clock Eastern time window tomorrow. Right? I believe that's correct. Double checking. And no Marshawn Lattimore too. Yes, that is a 1 o'clock game. Yeah. If London is active, you play London and your running backs, and we'll figure out how to get Nico into your lineup next week. That's what I would do. As far as Kyler, Drake May, or Tua, and Tua, we're not going to know if Tua's going to have Tyreek Hill until Monday night. Kyler. I guess Kyler. May has a tough matchup, I think. He's got the Bears on the road. That's a tough spot for May, although May has looked pretty good. I'll take Kyler because of his upside to run. Tua makes me nervous because if he doesn't have Tyreek Hill, then I don't want to play him. And he may not have Tyreek Hill. If he does, then I want to play Tua, but we're not going to know until Monday night, potentially. What's up, Derek? Good to see you. Let's see. Rombin, Purple Yoda, Jose, sit tight. I see your questions. I gotta get to some member questions here that just popped up into the chat, but appreciate your patience. If you're not going to be able to trade, you can't. I guess. I mean, David, obviously, you know your situation better than I do. I would just try to be as aggressive as you possibly can be. Hit up as many people in your league as you can. Just like text them, call them, just be like, let's get something done. I mean, if you have to play somebody, then Keenan Allen, I guess, is fine. Xavier Worthy is fine as a dart throw. McMillan might not play, so I don't know. I guess pick up Raheem Jarrett if that's who you have to pick up. But McMillan is questionable on the injury report, so we don't know if he's going to go. So I guess be prepared to work the waiver wire, but just try to be as aggressive as you can. If nobody is responding or nobody wants to do it, if nobody wants to trade, then you can't obviously force the issue. So, okay, it's only 2 receivers. Then Allen and Worthy, because McMillan's on the injury report, and we don't know if he's going to play. Yeah. And I would probably play Goff because Baker's been awesome, but Goff has he has Amon-Ra, he has Laporta, he has Jamison Williams, he has Gibbs and Montgomery to dump the ball off to. Did Baker ball out again last week against Kansas City? I feel like he did. I know Otten caught a touchdown. Yeah, he had a bit of A quiet week for Baker is still 200 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Maybe I would just, maybe I'll take that back. Maybe I'll just go with Baker. He's been so freaking good this year. Yeah, I'm going back to the well with, sorry, David. I'm going back to the well with Baker for one more week. I was thinking about it because Goff has his full complement of weapons and Baker doesn't, but Baker's been so freaking good no matter who's been lining up with him on offense this year. I'll take Baker. I'll take Baker. He's given us reason to just believe in him week to week. A down week for him was still 18 fantasy points in 4-point passing touchdown scoring. Give me Baker. Give me Baker. And then McMillan's value rest of season. Yeah, he needs to get healthy, but he's definitely worth a roster spot in leagues where you play 3 wide receivers. He's probably droppable at this point in leagues that start 2 wide receivers if you need the roster spot because he's on the injury report, and then next week is their bye week. Is Tampa's bye week. But after that, from week 12 on, yeah, if he's healthy, he will be a starter for them. But he's got to get healthy. Short term, right now, doesn't have a ton of value, but after the bye week, if he can get right, if he can get back to 100%, then yes, he'll have some wide receiver 3 appeal, especially in PPR leagues. What's going on, Emil? Thoughts on Ramondre Stevenson rest of season? RB2. He's an RB2. He's going to have his good weeks. He's going to have his good weeks through some decent usage and volume. He's going to have his down weeks because the Patriots offense we still expect to be up and down this year. That's what happens when you have a rookie quarterback and not a ton of overall talent on offense. Plus the offensive line isn't good. So he's going to have his good weeks. He's going to have his bad weeks. He is an RB2. He's a boring RB2. He's not a high-end RB2. He's maybe more on the mid to lowish end of RB2, but you know, you can rely on him to have some RB1 weeks. You're going to probably have to deal with him having some RB3 weeks or worse. But even with that type of inconsistency, there's value to be had there. So he's a boring RB2, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in he's difficult to trust because of the overall situation around him. David, you could pick up Quentin Johnston on the waiver wire. Yeah, I would probably play him over. I guess I would play him over Worthy. It's not a great matchup by the numbers, but he's a big play waiting to happen. Worthy is as well, but that's a tougher matchup by the numbers. Yeah, you could pick up Quentin Johnston. That would be fine. That would be fine. I forget who you have, like at the end of your bench. Taking a look. Higgins, Kincaid, McBride. I mean, you might be able to drop Olave at this point. He's out for a minimum of 4 games. He's not going to help you if you don't have an IR spot for him. If you do, then I guess you could drop Worthy. Or drop McMillan because he's on the injury report and it's his bye week next week. You could drop McMillan, but try to get him back after the bye week passes, after week 12. So just make a note. You could drop McMillan, David, but make a note to try to get him back after the bye week. And Derek also needs to consider either dropping McMillan or Pearsall. Yeah, I would probably prefer to keep McMillan and drop Pearsall. Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey's back, Jawan Jennings. Pearsall faces an uphill battle for consistent playing time and production this year. He's more of a dynasty stash. McMillan has a little bit more right now appeal, even though he may not play this week, and it's his bye week, week 11. But week 12 on, he might be more viable. Yeah. So you only have to start 2, Derek. So McMillan is not a guy that you need to rely on right now, but he's a decent hold. He's a decent hold for down the line. And David, I think Worthy is fine to drop. If you have, assuming you have Olave in an IR spot. If you don't have an IR spot, then Olave is droppable. Hopefully you have an IR spot. But if you don't, then he's droppable because you're not going to have him for a month. And it's possible you're not going to have him longer than that. All right. Those are the member questions that I've seen recently. So let me go back up to my spot in line. You gave Mike Evans for Jaden Reed and Khalil Shakir. That's good. That's not bad. You're 5-4. Okay. And you went up against Burrow and Chase. Well, okay. That's just unfortunate. That's just nothing. That's just unfortunate bad luck. There's nothing you can do about that. So you may not win this week. So you might be 5-5. But at least you have Jaden Reed and Khalil Shakir. Reed is on his bye week, but you'll have him rest of season starting next week. Shakir is looking viable because Cooper can't seem to get going with the Bills. And now Keon Coleman is missing a game and might miss more time, according to the Bills coaching staff. So, yeah, this is fine. You're getting help right now in exchange for a guy who might help you down the stretch, but he has to get healthy first. Oh, Derek, you also saw face, but yeah, if you went up against Burrow and Chase, I know it hurts to face the reality, but you maybe probably already lost this week. So just be prepared to pick up the pieces and regroup for week 11. I mean, obviously we hope your team pops off and balls out, but that's a tough road to climb back from. So, yeah, I think this, if you could use the help now, Jefferson, Taylor, Pollard, Metcalf, Reach. Yeah, that's fine. Because you still have Jefferson. You got some healthy pieces to help you now. Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. I'm good with that. Mason or Bigsby for this week? Who does Jacksonville have? Minnesota. Probably Bigsby because Christian McCaffrey is back. And by all accounts, he's going to get his normal workload. This is what, it's trending as if McCaffrey's going to get a typical Christian McCaffrey workload. So that's going to make Mason obsolete. Bigsby is more viable, I think. I would take Bigsby this week over Jordan Mason. Yep. You have Elliott. Drop him for Santos or Moody. Yeah, you could play Jake Moody. You could pick up Moody. Is Moody healthy? I think Moody's finally healthy, right? Set to return Sunday and no injury designation. Yeah, you can pick up Moody. That's fine. That's fine. You can pick up Moody and play, and you can just move forward with him as your kicker for the rest of the season. Yeah, that's fine. I'm good with that. Full PPR, Spears or Coker? Spears is set to return after missing some time. Coker, this is full PPR. My problem with Spears is he's missed a lot of time, so he's coming back from a hamstring injury. It's a bad matchup by the numbers. They may ease him in. I would play Coker. Adam Thielen is out for the Panthers, and they just traded Jonathan Mingo. It's Liggett and Coker moving forward for them at wide receiver. I would play Coker. I would play Coker. Spears' first game back. Let's give him a week on the bench before we consider firing him up in our starting lineup. I would play Coker. Let's see. I got my member questions. I got David. I would play probably Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnston after you drop McMillan, but try to get McMillan back after the bye week. I would play Baker over Goff. I got Derek. I got Emil. Let me know, members, if anybody needs anything. I'll make sure to follow up. But otherwise, I think I have my spot in line. I'm going to keep it moving. Would I trade Jefferson for Adams and Mixon? In theory, yes. I don't want to trade Jefferson, but that's a pretty good return. That's a pretty good return. Mixon's been an RB1. Devontae could be rounding into form. Value could be going up for him rest of the season. Jefferson has been what you would expect Justin Jefferson to be, one of the best receivers in the NFL. If you would play after this trade, if you would play Adams and Mixon every week, no matter what, this isn't like a situation where one of these guys would sit on your bench because you have other guys for the flex spot. If you would plan to play both of these guys every week, then I would do it. Like if you really need the running back depth, or this is just adding to your running to a good running back room, and Mixon still makes your starting lineup and Adams makes your starting lineup. If they are going to be in your starting lineup every week, then I would do it. If one of them is going to be on the bench more often than not, then I would probably just keep Jefferson. But if you intend to start these guys every week moving forward, then I would do it. Then I would do it. Taysom Hill or Kincaid? Hill. He's going to have his, he's going to have his Swiss Army knife role. He's going to play some quarterback snaps. He's going to play some running back snaps. He's going to play his tight end snaps. He might play a little at wide receiver because Olave's out and Shaheed is gone for the year. Kincaid gets a boost because Keon Coleman is out and Amari Cooper's on the injury report. I guess they're both in similar situations if Cooper is ultimately out. Kincaid's been better recently, but still not great. 4 catches, 32 yards last week, 4 for 31, and the touchdown week 8, so that was big. 3 for 52, 6 for 51, 2 for 34. These are very pedestrian. They're okay numbers. He's only cleared 50 yards receiving twice this year. He has 2 touchdowns on the season. I guess I would play Kincaid over Hill if Cooper is out. Because at least he still gets to operate and work with Josh Allen. So you trust from that level, you trust the Bills offense more than you trust the Saints offense. If Cooper is out, I'll play Kincaid. If Cooper's active, then I would play Taysom Hill. That's where I would go. Standard pick 2, McCaffrey, Tracy Hunt. We're playing McCaffrey. We're playing McCaffrey. This is what we held him for. We're playing McCaffrey, and we're playing Tracy. Kareem Hunt's awesome. Has been awesome. Gets another game where he probably will fall into the end zone along with like 20 plus touches, and he'll flirt with 100 scrimmage yards. But Tracy has been great and gets the best matchup that any running back could ask for this year. You want to start any running back you have against the Carolina Panthers. Any starting running back anyway. Play McCaffrey, play Tyrone Tracy. Yep. It's a really good spot for Kareem Hunt, but those 2 options are better. And then Hawkinson or Hill also, this is also standard scoring. Since there's no points for catches, I'll take Taysom Hill because he'll run. He's going to run the ball. He's going to maybe get quarterback snaps. Yeah, he'll catch it as he'll line up as a wide receiver or tight end. But he'll get running back snaps. And in standard scoring, that's a little bit more valuable. I'll take Taysom Hill in standard over TJ Hawkinson. If it was full PPR, I might say Hawk, but since it's standard, I'll say Taysom Hill. Taysom or Jennings in the flex. I just don't like playing two tight ends. That's just me. Not that Jennings stands out to me. McCaffrey back. Debo presumably will play, even though he's on the injury report. Kittle. McCaffrey, Kittle, Debo, and then Jennings. He's not super appealing. That being said, I don't like playing two tight ends. I just don't like playing two tight ends. So I guess I lean Jennings. But I do think Taysom will he'll have his Swiss Army knife roll tomorrow if that is enticing to you. He'll get quarterback snaps, he'll get running back snaps, he'll get tight end snaps. He might even get wide receiver snaps. No Olave, no Shaheed. So if that is appealing to you, then you can fire up Taysom. I just don't like playing two tight ends. I like to play one and find a running back or a wide receiver for my flex. That's just me. That's just me. Play Cooper Rush over Jalen Waddle in Superflex. I mean, generally speaking, in Superflex formats, you want to play the quarterback. He is difficult to trust. We don't know how effective he's going to be. We don't know how good a backup quarterback is going to be in a division matchup. But he does have CeeDee Lamb to throw the ball to. He has Jake Ferguson to throw the ball to at tight end. I think I would play Cooper Rush. If there's a flex spot to get Jalen Waddle into your lineup, I would still want to do that because Waddle could see an increased opportunity tomorrow if Tyreek Hill is less than 100%, or even if he doesn't play at all. Waddle is definitely intriguing, but I think you have to play the quarterback. If it's a super flex league, we got to play the quarterback. Definitely play Darnold. I would play Cooper Rush. I want to find a way for you to get Waddle into your lineup, but I think you got to play your quarterbacks. If you have Cooper Rush, you picked him up in Superflex, you might as well start him. And Waddle over Demarcus Robinson or Quentin Johnston for sure. Where am I at? Mason or Bigsby? Bigsby. Mason's probably gonna, if things go tomorrow the way we expect them to go with San Francisco's backfield, then McCaffrey is gonna see his typical McCaffrey workload. Jordan Mason is gonna, go back to being the change of pace guy who maybe doesn't get a lot of opportunities. Maybe he gets a few extra tomorrow since it's McCaffrey's first game back, but by all accounts, it looks like McCaffrey is back. So I would play Bigsby. I think Bigsby is more likely to have a larger role tomorrow than Jordan Mason. Yeah, I'll take Bigsby. Adunze or Waddle. So that makes it tough because Adunze plays earlier in the day and whatever. Waddle plays Monday night. I think I would play Waddle because Tyreek might not play. Waddle at least caught a touchdown last week. The reason he had negative receiving yards was because he ran backwards on a lateral at the end of the game. I don't know why he ran so far backwards, but he did. So that was a bit of an anomaly. That was a bit of an outlier. He gets a great matchup against the Rams, and Tyreek is on the injury report. I would play Waddle over Odunze. Yeah, I would play Waddle over Odunze. I like Odunze, but Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, it's musical chairs any given week. It's random. And the Bears, just as an offense, have been difficult to trust. I can trust Waddle with Tua healthy, especially if Tyreek doesn't play. He might see 12, 13 targets. We're starting 3 from this group. I think Ladd McConkey is one of them. He's been really good. I'll play DJ Moore. I'm going to play Ladd McConkey. He's given us reason to believe recently. I'm going to play Ladd McConkey. I'm going to play DJ Moore, and I'm going to hope for the big play. I'm going to hope that the Bears offense can get things sorted out against a suspect Patriots defense. And it's between Marvin Harrison and Jalen Waddle. I want to say Marvin Harrison, but he is a little concerning because of the fact that he's going to see Sauce Gardner, and the connection between him and Kyler has been very up and down. It's like I feel like we've alternated good weeks and bad weeks with him. Bad week, good week, decent week, bad week, week 6, bad week 7. Well, it's been like it's like Marvin Harrison is boom bust right now, too. He's difficult to trust. Here's my suggestion for you. I would definitely play Ladd McConkey, and I would definitely play DJ Moore. If you are a favorite, in your matchup, you feel good about the rest of your pieces, you feel good about your matchup in general, I might play Waddle for the floor. If you are an underdog and you think you need to be aggressive and swing for the fences, then I would play Marvin Harrison. Need upside? Then I would say Marvin Harrison. He might get 4 points, but he might get 20. It's up in he has been all over the place this year. He's been all over the spectrum. So you're going to have to take the good with the bad. You're going to have to, there's a lot of risk, but if you need the upside, then it's Marvin Harrison. The answer is Marvin Harrison. Because Waddle has not. We've seen some floor plays. We've seen no ceilings from Jalen Waddle this year. Yeah, I would say, and if you want to play Odunze, then that's your call. DJ Moore. The reason I prefer DJ Moore over Odunze is because any given week, DJ Moore projects to be the Bears wide receiver 1. So I'm just naturally going to chase the target share for the team's wide receiver 1, at least who I think that will be. And I think that will be DJ Moore going into any Sunday. If you prefer Odunze, play Odunze. It's your team. So, and I'm not trying to be facetious or whatever when I say do what you want to do. And I mean that genuinely. It's your team. This is for everybody. It's your team. At the end of the day, do what you want to do. If you don't agree with my thoughts or my input, that's fine. That's totally fine. Go with your own gut. If your gut is not jiving with what I say, then go with your gut. I would play DJ Moore, but if you want to play Odunze, that is within your right because it is your team. And then I would play Ladd and I would play Marv. Waddle, Lamb, AJ, the back 3. You're playing CeeDee Lamb because he's CeeDee Lamb. You're playing A.J. Brown because he's A.J. Brown, and you're playing Cooper Kupp because he's Cooper Kupp. Waddle is Waddle should be in this group as far as like how good he is and how the high expectations you have for him. But that's not the case, not this year anyway. Waddle is the easy odd man out for here, even with Cooper Rush throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb. I still would rather have CeeDee Lamb playing in there than Jalen Waddle. Yes, his ceiling is down, but it's CeeDee Lamb. We still have to fire him up. And then you're playing A.J. Brown with confidence, and you're playing Cooper Kupp with confidence. Trade CeeDee for Nico. I might do that. Because now Nico's getting healthy, and CeeDee is now in a bad part of town with his quarterback situation, probably for the rest of the year. I might do that. It's so tough because CeeDee is such a stud. He's such a baller, but his ceiling is lowered with Cooper Rush versus Dak Prescott. And if the Cowboys season spirals out, which it totally could, they're 3-5 and they have the Eagles coming into town this week. If they lose and go to 3-6 and they continue to sputter along, then it's week 15, week 16, and the Cowboys are out of the playoff race, CeeDee Lamb might get shut down. He's not going to get shut down for like the next month. They're still going to go out there and they're going to try and they're going to compete. But it is an uphill battle. Nico coming back healthy, he's coming back, full force, full steam ahead. The Texans obviously have postseason aspirations. There's no concerns with CeeDee's end of season like there is with like the CeeDee concerns are louder than the Nico concerns because there are no Nico concerns because now he's back healthy. He's reportedly, regardless of whether he plays this week, there's been no setbacks. Every piece of information and news about Nico over the course of his absence has been positive. Tracking toward playing tomorrow night. How much is another question. But there's concerns for CeeDee rest of season, not in the same way for Nico. Yeah, I think I might do that. Can you squeeze an extra piece out of that trade? You might be getting a little greedy. Can you squeeze like a bench running back, like a depth running back out of the trade? You might not be able to because obviously the concern with CeeDee is baked into the new asking price. But yeah, I would strongly consider this because Nico has his starting quarterback, and CeeDee no longer does. Maybe try to squeeze like one, like give me like, you could maybe even spin it like give me your RB3 and I'll give you my RB4. Like maybe try to you can still sell this as like Nico is a downgrade from CeeDee Lamb as like a 1-to-1 talent. But if you could squeeze a slight running back upgrade out of the trade, then I would say smash accept 100%. If you can't, I think I'm still interested because I think Nico's situation is better than CeeDee's now rest of season officially. Man, this is a loaded. There's a lot of good. Lineup options here. I would play Mixon. You got to play Mixon. He's been an RB1. I know they got the Detroit Lions. The Lions have been stingy against running backs, but Mixon has been an RB1 this year, and they're at home. You got to play Mixon. Yeah, you got to play Mixon. I mean, I don't want to bench A.J. Brown, but if you have to, then I guess I would play Mixon. Yep, got to play Mixon. We're at the end of the chat. I don't see any other questions for now. I can obviously stick around and hang for a bit longer if anybody needs anything else. If nobody does, there probably won't be a stream tomorrow because we have our final international game of the year. So I'll leave that spot open. But moving forward for the rest of the season, in addition to the Saturday start-sit streams, I will be hosting Sunday start-sit streams. Those will be, just as an FYI, The Sunday morning streams are available to everyone, but it's only members of the channel will have access to the chat. So Saturday streams still open to the public. Anybody can bring your questions, but if you need any last minute thoughts on Sunday, those will be member only chats. Just as an FYI, probably not one tomorrow with our final international game of the season, but from week 12 and onward, week 11 and onward, we'll have member only start sit help live streams Sunday mornings. I left one of my lights off, and now I'm starting to look like I feel like I'm in a bat cave right now because it's winter and it's daylight saving time now, so it gets dark at like 2:30 in the afternoon. What's going on, E111? Good to see you. This is a dynasty question. You have to drop one between Zamir White, Jerome Ford, and Keaton Mitchell. Why do you have to? I guess do you have to make a lineup move, and this is currently blocking you from doing so? If you absolutely have to drop one, Zamir White is 25 years old in his third season. Last year finished the year as the RB 56, even though he finished the year strong, because Josh Jacobs missed time at the end of the year last year before he bolted for the Packers. Smart move by Jacobs. Zamir White is 25 in his third season. Jerome Ford is 25 as well, also in his third season. He has been better than Zamir White recently. And I don't want to drop Keaton Mitchell because he's just a second-year player coming back from an ACL injury. But like moving forward, he's going to have an opportunity to, go back to being that explosive playmaker for the Ravens, assuming he can come back fully healthy. I would drop Zamir. You picked up Garendo. I would drop Zamir White. He's been frustrating. He's been disappointing. Jerome Ford has been better, and Keaton Mitchell is a more intriguing long-term stash. We saw some explosive playmaking ability from him last year before he suffered the ACL injury. We're probably not expecting much from him rest of this year, even though he did come back on Thursday and got into the game for a couple of snaps. We're taking the long view, the long approach with a guy like Keaton Mitchell, so I don't want to drop him. And you picked up Garendo again, dynasty stash. That's fine. That's worth it. I would drop Zamir White. He has very little value at this point. 25-year-old running back on a bad offense, lost his job to Alexander Madison. He'll be 26 next year. Like, how much more time does he have left in the league? He hasn't, He was supposed to have an opportunity this year as the lead back, and he lost it. He's currently the running back 65 on the season. Jerome Ford has missed a ton of time and is still the RB 41 on the year. Zamir White has missed less time and is the RB 65. You can drop Zamir White in Dynasty. You can drop Zamir White. That's fine with me. Yep, that's fine with me. Appreciate everybody's time and energy that came in and hung out tonight. I see a lot of thank yous. I appreciate that. Hopefully help get you guys some wins tomorrow, or just some good decisions to be made in general. Let's see. Dell with Nico back or play Hopkins at the flex. Nico being back doesn't worry me for Tank Dell because Stephon Diggs is out for the year. And it's a great matchup against the Lions secondary, whereas Hopkins might see Patrick Surtain. I'll take Dell. Nico being back doesn't scare me off of Tank Dell, because Tank Dell is going to be a clear-cut top 2 receiver for them moving forward, because Stephon Diggs is done for the year. So I'll take Dell over Hopkins. Hopkins, looking like a late career renaissance with the Kansas City Chiefs. Good for him. He gets Patrick Surtain tomorrow. That's a little bit of a tougher matchup. I'll take Dell. And drop Pittman for a running back stash. You could. It depends on who it is. You could. Pittman's been disappointing. And obviously he's not playing tomorrow. You could. He gets a good matchup week 12. Pittman does, but he has a tough, like this week he's out. Next week if he plays, he'll see the Jets secondary. That's a bad matchup. Good matchup week 12 against the Lions, but then a questionable matchup week 13 against the Patriots. Week 14 bye. Week 15 he'll play Patrick Surtain. Week 16 he'll get L'Jarius Sneed. Week 17 he gets the Giants. That's good, but he might be going through a bad stretch of games through that point, and even in a good matchup, you won't be able to trust him. Yeah, we can move on from Michael Pittman. Jalen Wright. You could. Jalen Wright's not a guy that I'm like rushing to the wire to pick up. Maybe I'll just keep Pittman. Not that I feel super strongly about him. I don't hate the idea, but Jalen Wright's not a guy that I'm like rushing to the wire to grab. I do think Pittman can still return some wide receiver 3 appeal on the year. He is a guy that is trending in the wrong direction. But for at least the rest of this season, Jalen Wright needs something to happen probably to both Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert to become fantasy relevant. Coker, Pittman, nah. You could, I guess. You could do that because if Coker balls out tomorrow, then you probably won't miss Pittman. And if he doesn't, then you could always try to get Pittman back after waivers clear next week. But he won't be a huge loss he's got some wide receiver 3 appeal, but he doesn't have the wide receiver 2, borderline wide receiver 1 appeal that he was supposed to have coming into the season. Yeah. And as far as the Dolphins backfield, Achane has played this year. He exited early from one game because of a concussion, but I don't want to operate thinking like, oh, well, one of those could, yeah, of course it's the NFL. Like, injuries are 100% for damn near any player at any time. That's a deep stash, and Pittman still has like some mild appeal. If you want to move on from him, that's fine. I'm just like I said, I'm just not super, I'm not running to pick up Jalen Wright. It's not bad. I do think Pittman has a little bit more value than that. If you want to move on, I understand. I get it. And yeah, obviously if something happens to one of those guys, then Wright becomes intriguing. But Achane's been healthy. Achane has lasted most of this season so far. Doesn't mean it'll stay that way, but he has. He has up to this point. But you can pick him up. If you're completely out on Pittman. Like I might hold for one more week if Jalen Wright is the guy it's between him and Jalen Wright. But if you have good wide receivers and you're fed up with the lack of production, which is totally fair, then you could. Oh, Braylon Allen is also available? That's a little bit more interesting. Yeah. I would take Braylon Allen for Pittman. Yeah, that's fine. I would take that. Yeah, that works for me. Braylon Allen works for me instead of Pittman. That works. I would take that. You can do that move. All right. We're at the end of the chat. If nobody needs anything else, obviously, best of luck to everybody tomorrow. Let's keep eyes and ears close to any updates as it pertains to Nico Collins and Tyreek Hill. Again, if you can, put them in your flex. If you have to leave them in a wide receiver spot, then so be it. But these are the types of players that you want to hold out on, regardless of matchup and anything else like that. Any other outliers or intangibles. If Tyreek can't play and Demarcus Robinson is also out in that Dolphins-Rams matchup, then Jonnu Smith in the flex is viable. Jordan Whittington or Tutu Atwell are viable. If in Sunday Night Football Nico Collins isn't able to go, then you can pick up John Mechie in a desperation play, or who's that wide receiver? Or Tim Patrick for the Lions, I guess. I know that these are super duper dart throws, but these are also the types of players that you want to hold out on and wait for it to play. So obviously, let's keep eyes and ears close to any reports or updates. And if we don't get anything before the kickoffs of the earlier games, then play the guys that you know are playing 100%. It's an annoying waiting game, but that's the nature of the beast with players that are on the injury report in the later games in Sunday and Monday Night Football. But if nobody needs anything else, I will shut this down. You can join the Discord if you have any other last-minute thoughts or questions between now and kickoff. Second link in the description of this live stream and all of the videos and streams on the channel. What is this update? That's NBA. That's not NFL. Yeah, I guess I'm probably not streaming tomorrow, but we'll stream on Sunday mornings moving forward. Members, anybody can access it, but member-only chat room Sunday mornings moving forward. If nobody needs anything else, though, I will see you guys on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern for Week 11 waiver wire help. We're already approaching Week 11. Insane how quickly this season moves, but this is what football does. It's gone in a blink of an eye. But if otherwise, if there's nothing else, best of luck tomorrow. Best of luck in your matchups. Let's get some wins. And I will see you guys on Tuesday. Thanks, everybody. Best of luck. If anybody misses me, you can leave a question in the form of a comment on the stream, and I'll try to get to it between now and kickoff. Thanks, everyone.